this episode, we are going to talk about battery switches, and we are going to talk about battery isolators, or ACRs, or battery stabilizers, or battery equalizers. There are two types of switches, and they are classified according with the capacity in amps per hour. One of the switches is a simple on-off. On-off. Power coming in, power coming out. The positive enter here and the positive goes out here. And simple, I on or off. Is an interrupter. It's like a breaker. It's exactly the same. This is on-off. And this one is for two battery banks and parallel. What is the meaning of that? One input from the positive of the battery bank number 1 and other input from the positive of the battery bank number 2. Input and input. And this one in the middle is the common, is the output. Oh, battery bank number 1 coming in, battery bank number 2 coming in, and this is the output coming out. For that reason you found it position 1, position 2, parallel. Position 1, position 2, and parallel. How can I select my battery switch selector? I select my battery switch selector according with the capacity of the battery banks in amps per hour. Okay, how I know what is the maximum capacity of my battery switch selector? You added the capacity in amps per hour of both battery banks, and you added 10% additionally, and this is the capacity in continuous operation that the switch selector should be supported. Simple. The capacity of the battery switch selector depends on the capacity of the battery bank. Right? There are different types of automatic charging relays. This is the ACR. The ACR is an equipment, it's a device, an electronic device used to keep the charge of both battery banks stabilized equal. In this particular case, this battery charger have one input and two outputs. The input is the power coming from the alternator, or is the power coming from the battery charger, and this is the output connected to the positive of the battery bank number 1, and this is the output connected to the positive of the battery bank number 2. This element, this is an ACR with one input and two outputs. There are other ACRs. There are other ACR like this with two inputs and three outputs. What is the meaning of that? This one, you can connect in this input one alternator for starboard engine, and in the second one the other alternator from the port engine. I have a boat with two engines, alternator 1, alternator 2, and I have three battery banks. A battery bank for starboard engine, battery banks for port engines, and battery bank for generators. That's a perfect ACR. With this ACR, I have three battery banks equally charged. For example, we are going to do the diagram right now to connect this one for one input and two outputs. All right, this is the diagram that we are going to connect. I have two battery banks. I have one battery bank here, that's the positive, the negative. Remember, all the battery banks, the negative should be connected together. The negatives should be connected together and connected with the negative bus bar, and the negative bus bar connected to the bonding, and the bonding connected to the sink. We are going to learn about that in the chapter number 10 dedicated to bonding system. Alright, I have here the battery switch selector, position 1, position 2, and this is the common. Okay, from the positive I enter here. From the positive of the second one I enter here. Alright, and I have the ACR. The ACR, I have the alternator number 1. This is the alternator of a starboard engine, and I have the alternator of a port engine, and I have the ACR here. and I have the ACR here, and I have the ACR with two inputs, and three outputs. All right, I am going to connect one input. This is the output DC of the alternator, and this is the output AC. Remember, the output AC of the alternator, we are going to learn later in the next episode, will be used to connect the tachometer. And this is the output DC of the alternator, and this is the output AC connected to the tachometer of the other engine. Okay, this DC output should be connected here, and this DC output should be connected here. All right, and I have one output here connected here, and I have another output here connected over there. All right, and this other output is free in order to connect other battery bank. And this is the procedure. I have one source of power, I have other source of power, and I have the ACR with two inputs and three outputs. I have another ACR, for example, this one. This is excellent. I love this picture. Is this isolator? Yeah. This ACR, this battery isolator or ACR. This one is exactly like the ACR that we have on the picture. Let me I follow the diagram. I have one battery bank, I have other battery bank. The positive of this battery bank enter in the position number 1, and the positive of the second battery one enter in the position number 2, and from the position number 1 I connect the position of this ACR, and from this position I connect the other position in the ACR. When the boat is on the dock, the engine is off, no power in the alternator. The power coming from the battery charger keep both battery banks fully charged. This is a perfect combination. You can use this one or this one. This is exactly the same. This one or this one. Those ACRs, they have in the bottom three terminals. The first terminal should be connected to the ground. The second terminal is to start or stop the ACR, connect or disconnect. And the terminal number 3 is an LED that LED could be connected on the dashboard to indicate that the ACR is running, is working.